right on here. When it's all the way out, you press these two tabs.
Yeah.
Then I can adjust the pitch. So if I wanted the water to flow this way, I'd lower this end of the awning down, and the water would flow away from my campsite.
Oh, nice.
So you just push these in, and you got all these different adjustment holes. And it's on either arm like that. That just allows you to adjust it, get the water to flow away from the campsite. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it down more. So. All right, we'll come inside. Right here was that button. I was running that in.
Okay.
So these other buttons here, if I press battery, it shows the battery's full. Fresh tank is about 2/3 full. Black's empty. Gray's empty. I don't think you have a second gray, so it's going to always read empty.
Yeah.
Some of the longer campers have 2 gray tanks.
Yep.
Then this does your water heater. So if I turn that on, when this little red light up here goes off, that means it lit.
Okay.
And like with the refrigerator, it always tries 3 times the light. And if it don't detect any propane, that's just going to stay red.
So it lit.
It just lit now. Yeah.
Okay.
And this does the water pump. You can hear that
Yep.
running. But turn the faucet on,
Oh, wow.
pumps water out.
Excited over water.
And that runs that. This is probably your awning light out there.
Little orange light,
A
yeah.
little orange light?
Yep.
Okay. This is inside.
And that's over the bed.
Oh, over the bed, okay. And then all these other lights are just going to have a push button in the center of them.
Okay.
Okay.
You can turn off whichever ones you want. I think that's about it on there. The air conditioner, you can get an optional electric heater for these too. So if you're going to have electric at your site where you're bringing it to,
Mm-hmm.
that might be something you want to consider because the furnace burns a lot of propane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the fall when I go to Ludington in October, I've got 30-pound cylinders, and I'll go through a 30-pounder in about 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
The furnace. So, you would go through both your tanks in about 3 days, maybe 4 days, running the furnace in cold weather, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
late October or whatever. So that's why it shows red or blue. If you had the heating element, you know, the more you went this way, the warmer it would set your temperature.
Okay.
And the more blue is the colder.
Yep.
Then you have 3 speeds on just the fan, right here. So that's the lowest speed. And then you have 3 speed on the cooling as well.
Okay.
3 different.
If we wanted to put the heating element on there, how does that work?
You just set it up with service. Basically, they take this off, and there's an electric heater element that goes up in there.
Nice.
Oh,
And then
okay.
when you're running the heat, you're just running it on the fan side, and then the fan blows it over that electric element and blows heat.
Okay.
So, it's a cheaper way to do it for people that do a lot of cold weather camping and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot
And-
cheaper than trying to mess with the propane all the time.
We are going to have electricity at our property, so
Okay.
switching over to that.
Yep. Make sure whoever wires your property up that they wire it for the the proper. You don't want 220.
No.
You know, 'cause a lot of. I mean, you'd be surprised how many electricians buy campers and fry their own camper.
Oh.
Because
So
they
what
see
do
that
we
cord
need?
and they just take for granted that it's a 220 like electric cord, and it's 110 power.
110.
You know, yeah,
Okay.
it's so. It's a 30 amp cord, so it looks
So-
just like the one on a dryer, but.
Do you know, like, oh, if we wanted it hooked up for a camper, but we might want it also hooked up for later to build a house on, how that works?
Yeah, well, because they're going to bring in a meter either way for your electric. So, I mean, you'll just bring in whatever amp service you want to have for your house, but they're just going to put in a 30 amp or a 50 amp. I don't even remember. This one was 30 amp, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
said 30.
Got the 3-prong on it.
Yeah.
So you just have wire a 30 amp plug with a rainproof cap, and it goes underneath,
Yeah.
just like they have at a campground.
Okay.
But your main panel would be there with a meter and stuff on it, and you just have a 30 amp plug for your camper for now, and then when they put the house in, they run underground you know, to your house and put your panel inside your house.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Or cabin or whatever. So yeah, and then when you're running the air, you can, you know, choose where if you want more of it going that way or towards the bedroom at night, you'd close all these ones up. If you want to dump most of it right here while you're eating supper or whatever, this will drop it all straight down.
Okay.
Just depends what vents you open.
Okay.
Stove top. Just gonna need one of them long igniters or whatever to light your burners.
All right.
And then microwave is pretty basic, just like a household
Yeah.
would. And then right here, like I turned the fan on right now, but I'm not really exhausting anything because it's latched outside right
Okay.
now. A lot of people forget about that. And the light right there. And then the refrigerator, the on-off button's right here. By turning it on, it just chimes, and it shows auto. So it's going to
Okay.
automatically choose electric. As soon as you lost power or you unplugged, it would automatically switch to propane.
Okay.
And then after 3 times the light and it didn't detect any propane, this check light here would light up. So I always tell people, you know, when you're done camping and you're getting ready to go home or whatever, you unplug from power, just before you head down the road, make sure your check light didn't come on so that your food don't spoil while you're traveling or whatever. Make sure you got propane.
Okay.
And so on and off is right here. This gas button here, now even though we're in the auto, we're plugged into electric. If I was running, you know, the refrigerator on electric and the AC going and plus a couple lights and stuff, I'm about maxed out on 30 amps. Then you put something in the microwave and you blow a breaker. So that's when people will just, when they're going to microwave, they'll just come in and push the gas button. And that way they're not drawing so much electricity and they're not tripping breakers all the time. 'Cause that's the hardest thing on your AC is if you blow a breaker in the middle of it going through its cycle, it's hard on the compressor.
Okay.
So, but it fools people because they don't see no lights and they're like, oh, my fridge is off. But as long as this is in, it's on. It's just your gas button is out, and so it turns that auto light off, and they don't think the fridge is on.
Okay.
So you just kind of look at the little diagrams there. But right now, we'll turn it off. Then when you're storing it, there's these little plastic tabs I was talking about earlier. If you put that in there, and that just keeps the door from closing all the way so that it won't get moldy.
Okay.
There's one for each door right here.
Okay.
The refrigerator, all the condensation from the fridge, the drain outside I was talking about, these things here will get, you know, moisture on them, and it drips into this drip tray, so you don't want to put anything in here.
Okay.
Because it's going to get damp on you. But it, right here's a hole. That's going to that drain tube that I showed you outside, so it all runs outside.
Okay.
But the freezer, when you thaw it out, there's no drain in the freezer, so you need to dry this out with a towel once you're done. Dry that out with a towel.
Okay.
Down here is your, well, next to the electric panel here is your gas leak and carbon monoxide detector.
Okay.
Real sensitive to anything aerosol, so like cooking spray, hairspray, spray on deodorant, things like that, mosquito spray. If it drifts in front of there, it's going to start beeping.
Okay.
But they're sensitive for a good reason. So if you're not spraying anything and all of a sudden it starts just a slow beep, it's usually propane. Maybe check your burners on there and make sure they're off all the way.
Okay.
If they are, go outside and turn off your tank. You got a leak somewhere. But if it's a really long chime, and I'm going to actually push it here so you can hear them, but the longer chime is usually carbon monoxide, and that's like, okay, I've warned you with a couple beeps, get out. Okay, so let you hear what they. So it starts out like that. If it's just a gas leak, and then it's not going to go to the longer beep.
Well, it'll start really screeching if it's
Yeah.
bad.
It is a different brand one than the other ones they've been showing, but it's, yeah, they must have, they went to just a single chimes on them, because the other ones got a really long, like a real annoying sound. So, all right, then this is your fuse panel. So if you see a red light in this plastic window, tap it in the middle here. Your 12-volt fuses are right here.
Okay.
And they're all 15 amp, and then you've got two 40 amp ones here.
Okay.
But by these 15 amp ones, if you blow one, a little red LED lights up on the right side of it, so you know which one to change. So that's kind of handy. and they are labeled here as to what they go to.
Okay.
These 240 amp ones, they don't have the LED by them, but you're typically going to blow them if you hooked your battery cables up wrong or you sparked a screwdriver off them. It's going to blow these to protect this converter so you don't fry your converter.
Okay.
Because inside this converter is a charger that will charge your battery, and so it's just protecting that charger basically if you were to hook your cables up wrong.
Okay.
So at that point, it won't charge your battery till you replace some fuses. And then these are your breakers. So if I turn off, I think the main one's on the top. Everything right now is running off the 12 volt battery. So the only thing you wouldn't have would be microwave and AC and a TV if you had a TV.
Okay.
Everything else runs on propane or 12 volt. The furnace fan runs on 12 volt. Burns propane, but it runs on 12 volt. So that's it for that.